We have brought you countless stories about the harsh reality of the streets of San Francisco, the drugs, the despair, the doom loop.
So you wonder, is it really worse than it ever has been? Well, tonight I'm going to take you out onto those same streets with the Night Ministry. We're going to retrace the steps that Cron Ford took nearly 60 years ago to see if anything's changed. These are the streets of San Francisco. Some might prefer to avoid in the dead of night.
For a lot of people, nighttime is a scary time. It's when the demons come out. It's when loneliness sets in, isolation sets in. At night is oftentimes when we need some connection.
And that's when the Night Ministry comes alive. There's a whole other world out here. It's like an upside-down world. Walking the Tenderloin, North Beach, the Mission, the Castro. And they've been doing it since 1964.
The story is about people in trouble.
Cron Ford went out onto the streets with San Francisco's first night minister, Reverend Donald Stewart. This is part of a 1966 documentary called Shepherd of the Streets.
In 3 months, he's contacted 60 potential suicides, talked with countless alcoholics, procurers, prostitutes, and drug addicts. He's broken up numerous fights and been attacked twice.
For nearly 60 years, the Night Ministry tends to people who inhabit the dark places, the unhoused, the drugged and distressed, the down and out, and some who just work the graveyard shift. Mr. Brown is a bouncer and barker at the Condor Strip Club who's seen it all.
So I've been on the block for like almost 10 years, but the Night Ministry is always really cool. Like they don't pressure you.
I went out with the Night Ministry to see for myself. How have the streets changed? Are they meaner now?
There does seem to be a bit of an edginess the last couple of years, especially since the pandemic.
My cameraman Tahir and I are with Reverend Trent, who has no illusions of solving the city's challenges.
In the Night Ministry, we're not the solution to homelessness.
The aim is to comfort, not convert. Night ministers are Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, in fact, all faiths.
I feel like the soul of San Francisco is suffering right now, and I think a lot of us in this community feel that.
Tonight, the walk is here in the city's lively Castro neighborhood. Reverend Trent is welcomed by this man who doesn't care to talk with me. Up the block, we meet a woman by the name of Pony and her tiny guard dog.
She's protecting.
Yeah,
she's protecting you, yeah.
Pony says she likes the Castro because it's safer for women on the streets. You got no family?
No, I mean, I would be like, I've been pretty much out since I was 14.
In the few minutes of our conversation, a chef from a nearby restaurant offers to bring her some food.
Just beef and potatoes? All right.
It's not clear where Pony will sleep tonight. Still, there's a lightness to this particular evening. Chaplain Sherry says she's never personally felt any threat on the street.
My father was an FBI agent, so yes, I grew up learning a lot about awareness, panoramic awareness. Like, so you always know who's in front of you, who's behind you, So I already have that sense of it, and we teach people about that when they're out on the streets walking with us.
But even with the power of a reverend's collar, the Night Ministry has felt the danger of the dark side. The Tenderloin is one of the city's edgiest neighborhoods where there are feces on the sidewalk and drug deals out in the open. Night ministers walk among the street inhabitants, deeply listening and dispensing kindness where there is none.
Trans folks are usually somewhere between 4 and 8 times more likely to attempt or complete suicide.
Trans chaplain JJ says some people are more at risk than others, especially in the LGBTQ community.
Having people feel like they have value. They want to continue living, right? And really all it is listening to folks.
That sounds really, really painful.
Sylvia, as she calls herself, is a trained volunteer who lends a compassionate ear on the Night Ministry's care line.
Do you want to share more about that?
Whether on the phone or on foot, nearly every night for the last 59 years, the Night Ministry shows up and listens.
Whatever it may be, it's likely to test his sensitivity to the human condition, and sometimes his sense of humor as well. And almost always, the assignment requires of Don Stewart that most difficult of human demands, that he be a good listener.
Whatever they're going through, we're not going to judge them. We're not going to try to fix them. We're not going to try to change them. We're simply going to offer a loving and compassionate presence.
The Night Ministry is nonprofit. They don't rely on city funds, so they are throwing their annual fundraiser. It's happening this Sunday night, and they're looking for volunteers and, of course, donations. To find out more, you can go to their website at sfnightministry.org. We have that link at the bottom of your screen there. So it was really interesting to go out onto the streets. Many of us, and I don't think I'm alone in this, but you try to avoid people, and the night ministers don't
doing the
avoid
opposite.
them. And it seems really simple, the idea of just interfacing with someone and stopping for a moment to recognize them as a human being,
right,
and to listen to their stories.
And to see that they were doing it back in 1966, right, and nothing has changed much. It's a little harsher, the drugs are different and all of that, right, but it's basically the same thing going on in San Francisco.
In the dark, you know,
on a bigger scale,
for help. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good story. Thank you.